Happy New Year and welcome to Sounds Heavenly. If you follow the channel, you'll probably be aware that I've recently returned from a visit to Struer in Denmark to celebrate 100 years of Bang Olufsen with the B&O Friends group of Bang Olufsen collectors. However, what you may not be aware is that January 2026 actually marks 50 years of my own personal journey as a B&O enthusiast. So in this video, I'd love to share my story with you through 4 iconic B&O products that have shaped my journey, and I'd like to hear your stories. I'd love to open up the comments of the video to you, and if you're a B&O fan, please watch the video, have a listen to my journey, and then tell me your story, and let's enjoy, as B&O reaches its first century, our shared passion for the world's finest audio brand. Come and join me. If you're new to the channel, I'm Steve from Sounds Heavenly. My day job, as well as YouTubing, is making the cables that connect Bang & Olufsen products. But how did I get here? Making YouTube videos about an audio company in Denmark and earning a living making cables to connect those products that they make. Well, as a quick prelude to my story, I want to show you this picture that was taken way back in 1973. The chubby little baby is none other than yours truly, and you'll see there my dear mum, who's unfortunately no longer with us. But in the background of the picture you might notice one of her Bang & Olufsen B&O Vox 1000 loudspeakers. So whilst at this point I don't claim to be a card-carrying B&O enthusiast, I was born into a family that had both a love of music and an appreciation of quality. Now that meant that 3 years later, in January 1976, when my little sister arrived and our family moved into a larger home, my first ever memory was of this product. My parents' B&O Gram 1000 turntable, and strangely enough, as a toddler, I can remember with crystal clarity raising and lowering the tone arm using the little silver lever that's there, and I remember feeling the cold of the aluminium and the smoothness that the arm moved with, and I got in huge trouble every time I did it, and still loved that feeling of solid controlled movement, and it was something that stuck with me. I didn't understand at the time what that was, who had made that record player, but I just knew that was special. And so roll on another 10 years, I'm 13, we're looking now at 1986, and the second product here on my list came into view. So I was helping my neighbours clear out their house, and they asked me to help them throw away some surplus items. And in the process of doing that, I caught a sight of quite honestly the most incredible piece of machinery I had ever seen in my life as a 13-year-old. So this was a 1976 B&O Centre 3300 record player, radio and amplifier. It just looked like something from the space age. I was absolutely enthralled, and I couldn't believe that this was going to be thrown away. So I begged and pleaded, and they gave it to me. It didn't work. It took me 6 months with calling in favours and taking it into the local B&O store for advice, buying parts, and eventually I got it working. I'm absolutely overjoyed. And to be honest, that's pretty much set the tone for my teenage years. By the time I'd got that system working and was playing my music, incidentally, first album I ever bought was Roxette's Look Sharp, still one of my favourite albums ever, and it was played, as a 14-year-old, it was played on my B&O Centre 3300. I knew at the point where that was working, and I heard the fruit of all my hard work, that I was going to become an electronic engineer. So I ended up at university and studied electronics. I had a number of years in the railway industry and ended up as a technical support engineer making cabling for long distance communication systems. Roll on to 2004 and we come to the third product in the list here. As a teenager, I'd spent most of my spare time trying to get to the B&O store and looking at the wonderful new systems that I had no chance of affording. But I realise now, years later, I actually had the cash to afford one of the items that was the dream in my teenage years, and that was this, the B&O System 3500. So it dates back to 1990. I bought it pre-owned in 2004 to use with some Redline 60 speakers, and yeah, absolutely overjoyed with it. However, the key here was it came with a set of speaker cables. I took one look at them and thought, come on, we can do better than that. So I promptly sold the cables on eBay and made my own. The next day, I had 2 inquiries from people saying, look, I really wanted those cables. Could you make me some? And I love to help people. So, of course, I said, yeah, sure, I'll make some cables. So I listed some more speaker cables on eBay and they sold. And some more people said, could we have some? Could you make me a cable for this product or that one or for those speakers? And before I knew it, I was spending 20, 25, 30 hours a week on top of my day job just making cables for people and giving them advice and ideas online and on the bailworld.org forum. And that B&O System 3500, as well as being my daily music system, actually became the reason that Sounds Heavenly as a company existed. I was really enjoying making wires for people and helping them connect up and use their B&O systems far more than I was enjoying my day job. So roll on to 2007 and my boss announced that the company was in trouble and there would be a whole load of redundancies. I didn't wait to hear whether I'd got a job in the company. I handed in my notice, had a retirement party aged 32, and the next day Sounds Heavenly became a permanent full-time company. And since then, I've never looked back. The B&O System 3500 is still in daily use. It connects to speakers in 6 rooms of my house. It's featured on numerous YouTube videos on my channel, and it's still a thing of sheer delight to me to see and to use. So that started the journey really for me as taking my love of B&O into a daily job, going from something that's just a love of music and good quality electronics and making it something that could actually be my life focus. Fast forward from there to 2020. A year that most of us would want to forget. But for me, that was actually a really special time because at this point I'd been working full-time, running Sounds Heavenly for 13 years, and I got a call from Bang Olufsen to say that they were looking for some record player cables. Little did I know at that point that this would lead to their Recreated Classics programme. I provided some samples and some recommendations to them, and the cables that I sent then were used on their flagship B&O 4000C turntables. And for me, as a lifelong B&O fan, this is the culmination of my life's work. To be able to contribute back to make one small part of the Bang Olufsen story is, for me, that is the reason that I'm here and do this. It's an absolute joy for me and a pleasure. So I want to say publicly thank you to Bang Olufsen for giving me that opportunity. Since then, we continue to make cables for the B&O 4000C and also for special one-off variants of it, including the B&O System 7222, launched in 2022, and then the even more special 7223 the following year, and the limited edition 7224 B&O System. There have been some really special one-offs as well, and some really unusual uses of the Beogram 4000C, including the Orient Express travel trunk, of which a very, very limited number were produced. And for that reason, the fourth and final product here has to be that Beogram 4000C. As I said, that is the culmination of my B&O journey, and something that gives me a pride and a feeling of privilege to have been able to give just a little bit back to the B&O story after 50 years as a fan. So please let me know in the comments your B&O story and the products that have shaped that. I would really, really love to hear from you. And also, what I'd like to do now is give back a little thank you to the people who have kindly let me use the video footage that you've just seen. So coming up just here will be a link to the Kristensen Family Museum in Denmark, where the first three products that we showed were viewed. And here is a link to a review of the Beosystem 7223 at B&O in Utrecht. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.